Now, 2 videos ago, we looked at the book of Leviticus, which is the third and the middle book. Now we're moving on to the book of Numbers, and there's going to be a very beautiful prayer and a blessing. It's called Aaron's blessing, which is in chapter 6. So we're going. So let me recite the prayer, the blessing for you. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. So they shall put my name on the Israelites, and I will bless them. So this is the very, very beautiful prayer, is a prayer of blessing. So this is the blessing of Aaron. And of course, it's nice to be blessed. So what exactly does it mean to be blessed? In the book of Numbers, because this comes from the book of Numbers. Well, in the book of Numbers, there are 2 genealogies. There's the first genealogy is all young people, men 20 years and older. And it's a big list of them. And in this list of men, every one of them dies in the desert. They lived like they were cursed. Because it's the desert, it's hot, they don't like it there. They'd rather be in Egypt where they had the nice, they didn't have to be in tents, they were in houses. They were rich gardens there. They had plenty of food. It was that they preferred that much more than the desert. Now the next generation, the second generation of people, that represents the second genealogy. Now in this genealogy, you have guys that are 20 years and older, and none of them die. In the first genealogy, every one of them dies. But in this genealogy, every one of them lives, and they go on to the promised land. So it's so there's a really, really big difference between the two. So what exactly happened, and how is one so different from the other generation? So now in the book of Numbers, it's again there are 5 parts, and there's a middle part there. So the first part is this is a continuation of the book of Exodus. Now the book of Exodus was about 1 year and 2 months. Now the book of Numbers continues that for the next, so it's the story of the next 38 years and 10 months. And if you add the 2 together, it's that'll be 40 years. So it's the next almost 39 years in the desert. And in this, during this time in the desert, the first generation all die because they rejected God. They turned their back on God. When did that happen exactly? Well, anyway, at the beginning we have they're all gathered at Mount Sinai there, and they're all God gave them the covenant, and they're all they're all saying, yes, we're going to be God's people, and we're going to listen to God. So then they gather together, they separate into 12 tribes with the 10th meeting in the middle, and they march off, and they go to Paran. So as they go into Paran, they start to encounter some hardships, and they start grumbling about these hardships. There's not enough water, we don't like the food, we want to go back to Egypt. So finally they get to Paran. And in Paran, Moses sends 12 spies into the promised land to check it out, to see how nice it is there, so to get the people excited to want to go there. So anyway, they go there, the 12 of them come back. 2 of them, which is Joshua and Caleb, they come back and they say, hey, look at this food, look at the fruit. It's really terrific. This is a great place to go. So that's 2 of them were really positive. The other 10 spies came back and they go, no way. It's just, they're giants there. They're giant people. We're like little grasshoppers, and God, they're going to destroy us. I mean, there's no way God's going to be able to allow us to live there. We're not going to be, it's all populated with other cultures, and other gods are there. There's no way that we're going to be able to occupy the place. So they got all the people upset, and they says, well, we don't want to go there. We don't want to go to the promised land. We don't want to go there where we're going to be in God's presence. We want to go back to Egypt. So God got very upset, and they says, fine, I'll give you what you want, and you're going to stay, and you'll die in the desert here. You won't go to the promised land. So they lived like they were cursed. They didn't like the desert. They didn't like the promise. They didn't like God. They didn't trust God. They turned their back on God. They basically said, God, I don't want you to. I don't want to be the one to show the world how great you are. I know going to this place would have done that. Going to this holy land would be impossible for us, but you could have shown how great you are by having us victorious and go in there and and all the nations would see your greatness, but we don't want a part of that. So that's basically what they said. So they were cursed, and that was the first generation. Now the second generation is different. The second generation, same desert, same heat, same lack of food, same lack of water, but they lived like they were blessed. They were happy. Because why? Because they were in God's presence. They trusted God, that God provided for them, and they were in a constant state of absolute happiness, seeing God every day, giving them food and giving them water. They really enjoyed it. So that's the difference between being cursed and being blessed. So when we read this prayer of Aaron's blessing, we remind ourselves we got to live our life. Don't live your life like you're cursed. Don't live your life like you're going to that everything is a disaster and everything is difficult and hard, and you want to have a nice, easy life. Don't live a life that you want to separate yourself from God because God is too hard. Live a blessed life. Live a life like you're in an absolute state of amazement when you're in God's presence. So that's the idea of the blessing. So Aaron's blessing, for those who consider themselves blessed by God, with a generation of life, with a generation of those that are going to be in God's presence. So so the book of Numbers is really wonderful in seeing the two perspectives. We can be in the same exact situation of those who feel like they're cursed, and we can feel entirely blessed, all because we are in the presence of God. So now we're getting excited now. we want to get closer. So now the Israelites are now moving closer and closer to the promised land where they're going to be in God's presence. So we're going to see in this next video, we're going to see the final book of the Pentateuch, Deuteronomy.